Today we are going to talk something about self-disclosure. Now what do you mean by self-disclosure? This is a very important thing what the counselor has to do in our counseling session. Now self-disclosure is something wherein the counselor talks something about himself which is going to help the client and also in the rapport building process. What are the learning objectives of this particular session? They are to identify what self-disclosure is, to understand the process of self-disclosure, to acquire the skills of self-disclosure and to use self-disclosure in the counseling process. Now let us start exactly about self-disclosure. In the beginning we will see the definition of self-disclosure. So self-disclosure is the situation in which the personal as opposed to professional information is revealed by the therapist to the client. This definition is given by Zer in 2016. As it is very clear from this definition that in self-disclosure, it is the counselor who is revealing some personal information about himself to the client so that this will assist the client also to open up. Now, there are two controversial aspects with regards to self-disclosure, that is the clinical and the ethical aspect. Whether the therapist should disclose or not, this is a major question in front of us. See, what happens in counseling, basically the client comes with his problems and he wants to discuss his issues with us. So at such a time, is it important or is it necessary that the counselor opens up and speaks about himself? As we have seen in the definition that in the process of self-disclosure, it is the counselor who is going to reveal some personal information about himself to the client so that the client feels more comfortable. But the problem remains with whether clinically or ethically it should be done or not. So there are some issues that we will be discussing with regards to this. And in case the person is going to self-disclose, then how should he be doing this self-disclosure? This is what we will be studying in today's lecture. Also, in what context? This is also something important. Now, whoever follows the self-disclosure, what he is going to disclose is dictated by the theoretical consideration or theoretical orientation of this particular therapist. Now students, we have already studied in our previous chapters that the whole counseling process, it goes through different approaches and it depends on the counselor as to what kind of approach he is applying in his process of counseling. So similarly, with regards to self-disclosure also, it depends on what is the grounding or what is the foundation of this particular counselor, what are the theories this counselor believes and what is his approach towards counseling. Now, if initially we see the traditional view, that is of Freudian and Jungian psychologists, they believe and their intention is that the counselor serves as a mirror and a blank screen wherein the client can project his feelings. So based on this traditional view, what happens is Freudian psychologists or Jungian psychologists believe that the counselor should not reveal anything. The counselor just sits like a blank slate. He is a plain mirror wherein the client will project his thoughts and feelings. So in this particular case, or those counselors or those therapists who believe in traditional view, they may disclose or they may not disclose anything about themselves, but in case they are disclosing, they have to be very careful while doing so. Now, there are some behavioral therapies and other people, they have some different view. So, when we talk about behavioral therapies or people who believe in behavioral therapies, we can call them as behavior therapists, or the people who are based on family therapies. In behavior therapies, you have REBT, that is Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy. Then we have CBT, that is Cognitive Behavior Therapy. There are family therapies, and in Ericksonian and Adlerian therapies, these people strongly believe that modeling, reinforcement, normalizing from the therapist's own life is highly effective way of convincing client of a technical utility. So based on this philosophy or based on this therapy, the counselor believes that modeling is something very important for the client. So he will try to imitate you, and in this process he gets more comfortable. Even reinforcement, like if the counselor is speaking about his experiences which are similar to that of the client, in this case the client feels more comfortable. It also helps in normalizing, and hence this is a very effective tool. So these people who believe on these theories, they are more comfortable in self-disclosure and they may use it quite often. Now, we are also going to see some other therapies. They are humanistic and existential psychotherapies. So, these therapists believe that self-disclosure allows clients to see that all human beings, including the therapist, have failings and unresolved matters. Now friends, it is very common whenever you go and open up to a new person, it is not very casual or it's not very normal that you can just go easily and open up in front of a counselor. But what happens here is when the counselor in the initial stages of rapport building starts talking about his own experiences, this may help the person to realize that he is also normal just like the counselor, and whatever is happening in his life is something very common. And so because of this, he also starts opening up. So he also understands that counselors also have failings and unresolved matters. Now friends, many a times when we have students or we have clients coming to us, they feel that if you are psychologist or you are somebody who studies psychology, then do you also get stressed or do you also get upset? So it's very common. It's just like asking a doctor if the doctor falls sick. So I have always given this example in the class and number of times I have been talking about this. It is very normal for a doctor to fall sick. It's not, after all, he is also a human being. So he can also fall sick, but only issue is he knows better ways to treat himself or he knows better precautions. In the same way, the psychologist is also a well-informed person. So he also faces emotional turmoils, he also faces stress. The psychologist also has anxiety, has got stress, but he has got ways and means to deal with them. Now, when a psychologist or when a therapist talks about his experience, the client also feels that he also is facing the similar thing. The purpose of self-disclosure is to improve the client's emotional or mental state. So, it is very important that when you are self-disclosing, you have to very well know why it is required. So, self-disclosure should only be done at such a time when it is going to improve the client's emotional or mental state. Secondly, it is to help the client and not to meet the needs of the therapist. Many a times what happens, the therapist is so involved and so excited about the whole counseling process that whenever a similar situation or whenever a situation which is very close to his heart comes in front of him, he is bound to speak about it. Now sometimes if a person is coming for counseling and he is in the divorce case, so sometimes the therapist also may be undergoing the same case and he is like, I too have been undergoing the same thing, and he gets so overwhelmed and excited that he starts speaking about his own experiences. But at times it is very useful to talk in front of the client about such matters just to make him comfortable. But how much you are going to talk is something very important. So choosing is the major thing, that is you have to choose very carefully as to how much you are going to self-disclose. Counselor must be very careful while choosing self-disclosure. It should be very selective and he must know very well how much he is going to disclose in front of the client. Of course, there are no clear rights and wrongs about self-disclosure. I mean, there is no standard rule whether self-disclosure is right or wrong, and also to what extent it is. This is also something very important. Now, we are going to study some of the pros and cons of self-disclosure. Now, first let us see what are the pros or what are the benefits of self-disclosure. So, initially self-disclosure helps in building rapport and trust. So, when the counselor talks about himself or reveals some personal information, this helps in the initial rapport building. Secondly, it normalizes a client's experiences and validates it, or it validates his experiences. That means the client feels that whatever he is behaving or whatever is happening in his life is something normal. Now, many a times there are some issues which are not considered very normal in our society. See, when it comes to the matters of LGBT, if somebody is lesbian or gay, or somebody has something which is considered as a taboo in our society, the client does not open up very easily in front of the counselor. But if the counselor reveals some personal information about himself, and which is a very sensitive information, so at such times the client also feels normal. Now, in case of students, it's very common that these days if the student fails in a particular exam, or there is a failure in choosing or making a wrong decision, at such times if the counselor reveals something about himself and says that I also had undergone the same thing and look today where I am. So, in this kind of situations, the client also starts feeling normal, and it basically validates their experiences. The next thing is it instills hope. That is, once the client listens to the counselor, then he also starts developing a sense of hope. Another pros and cons of this the pros are, the client feels less isolated in this situation, and it equalizes the relationship and reduces the intimidation. That is, especially when you are talking to children or when you are talking to teenagers and you are revealing something about your life, you are revealing something what had happened when you were a child or when you were a teenager. This relationship becomes, the difference between the counselor and the client reduces, and you come to an equal platform wherein the client now feels friendly and he shares information with you. It also provides a role model for appropriate social interaction. That is, when the counselor reveals about himself, the client may feel that the counselor is a role model, and it basically helps in social interaction, especially when the client is facing some kind of an anxiety. Now, let us look at some of the cons, that is the negative points in self-disclosure. The very common thing is that once you start self-disclosure, it can compromise the professional relationship. That is, the client and counselor relationship is somewhere lost, and the client starts considering you as a friend, and now he starts sharing things in a more friendly manner. Now, that is a good sign, but to what extent? He should not forget that after all you are the counselor, and the dependency should not grow. This is something important. Second thing is, it can take off the focus from the counseling or from the client. That is, during self-disclosure, the counselor, sometimes his focus goes away from the client and you get derailed from your counseling process. It can also create role confusion, as I told you earlier. That is, sometimes when the counselor starts sharing things, there is a role confusion. There is a situation wherein the client may console you, or there is a situation wherein the client comes in the role of a counselor. So, this kind of situations can happen. Now, there are some other cons. The client may feel burdened and he may hold back. That is, if the self-disclosure is longer, and in that case what happens is, the client does not get more opportunity to speak, and somehow he feels burdened by the information that is coming from the counselor, and he starts holding back his information. So, basically he starts censoring his own information which he has to actually speak out to the counselor. He may feel that the counselor is too involved because the counselor starts explaining about himself. So, this feeling develops in the client. So, the last point is that many a times the client may indirectly feel pressured into disclosing material they are not ready to divulge. So, what happens is, due to the prolonged self-disclosure of the counselor, what happens is the client feels so overburdened and he feels pressured, he has to untimely disclose something for which he is not ready.